You're listening to the Motivated Mindset podcast with Bobby Stein.
Hello, my name is Bobby Stein, your host of the Motivated Mindset podcast, where I share candid conversations with extraordinary folks from all walks of life to discover just what motivates their mindset. Welcome in and thanks for listening. Hello and welcome to another installment of the Motivated Mindset podcast, and I am glad you are here because today we are phoning in from halfway around the world to Australia and dialing up a call with the street smart entrepreneur. This guy is also a surfing champion. He's a thought leader, an author, speaker, and at one point he took his real estate enterprise from just a single real estate listing back in 2001 and then sold his venture at the ripe age of 47 after having that enterprise reach over $1 trillion in revenue in 2017, and he can correct me if I'm wrong. He's the founder of the 1357 system, which encapsulates sales, leadership, and business, and we will learn more about that shortly. He knows how to win. Let's learn what all motivates the mindset of the energetic Scotty Schindler, and thanks for listening. Scotty, how are you, mate?
Hey, it's early in the morning here, but it's great to be here and speaking, and like you say, on the other side of the world.
Yeah, it's brilliant, that technology. We were talking before the interview about, the fact that I could even make a call with all those different digits and connect. It's quite miraculous. So you got your coffee in hand?
I've got my coffee, yeah. Yep, it's mandatory.
How much do you drink? How much coffee do you drink?
I generally only 2 cups a day.
You're disciplined.
When I used to drink instant coffee as a programmer, I drink maybe a dozen instant coffees a day.
Oh.
But now that I have 2 lattes, if you like, or 2 flat whites every morning, basically, and that's my day.
That's your routine. Yeah, you can knock them out early. We recently went on an intermittent fasting program, my wife and I. So it's been, it's a 16-8 thing, Scotty. So I guess you fast for 16 hours and you eat, you fit in all your calories the other 8 hours. Well, that means I have to stop eating.
Yeah.
I stop eating at 8 p.m. and I can't start again until noon. I am drinking more coffee trying to get to that 12 noon mark. I got to be honest with you. My head's going to pop off its shoulders.
It's a funny thing is I don't really eat breakfast anyway. I only eat like after lunch anyway. So that fasting for me is not a problem. Except I still have my morning coffee.
Well, you're in good shape. I know that. So you got to watch the intake and the calories. But coffee is definitely a nice substitution for breakfast. At least right now, what I'm going through and what your habits are like. So, well, thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join me. I really do appreciate it, man.
It's, we've been following each other for a while, and it's certainly when you ask me to come and speak for your, do an interview with your podcast and so on. I mean, it's right up my alley is the whole motivational arena. I love being motivated myself, and I love watching other motivated people go and achieve what they want to achieve.
Yeah, like-minded people. Yeah, I like to find out and learn what motivates the mindset of individuals, like people like yourself, entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, musicians, and just what makes them tick, the trials, the tribulations, and ups and downs, and all that good stuff. You're a surfer, and how was the surf today? Did you get out and on the beach today at all, or no?
No, I just went for a drive and had a look. We've got really ugly weather today, not just for beach weather, but for surfing. It's really, it's flat. It's what's called an onshore wind. It's raining. It's one of the worst days possible. So I probably won't go surfing today. Even if you are really desperate and keen, you probably can't go surfing today.
Is it a prerequisite in Australia if you live on the coast that you have to be a surfer?
No, funnily enough, not everyone surfs, which is really a good thing, or else it would be really crowded.
True, yeah. Yeah.
But no, not everyone surfs. But do they go to the beach? Yeah. Surfing itself it's like any sport or discipline. It's not easy. It's not as easy as it looks.
No, and the easier you make it look, the more difficult you can be assured that the skill set or that it is. Right. I mean, I like to watch sports on TV, and as a kid, I would watch baseball, for instance, and I'd see my favorite athletes, and they make it look so easy, and I'd go out into the backyard and throw the ball around, and boy, as you grow up and you move into adolescence and adulthood, and you go through athletics, you realize the levels of talent and ability they are, and then the discipline required to exploit that talent. It's crazy, and surfing's no different, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a skill to be able to stand on a surfboard and not fall off.
You don't want to get eaten by any sharks out there. How are the sharks?
Oh, actually, they've been pretty bad, believe it or not. I haven't been biting anyone, though, lately, which is good. I've just been swimming past.
That's always
There's
good.
been a lot of them.
That is good. And you're a snowboarder, too, no?
Yes, absolutely. Love snow skiing or snowboarding. Started doing snowboarding when the boys were a bit older, my two sons, and I haven't gone back to ski since. Naturally, as a surfer,
How old are your boys, Scott?
Well, they're now 19 and 24.
Okay, good deal. That is awesome. And we have a couple children ourselves, and I told you I was old. I'm now a grandfather of two, so you got that to look forward to.
Well, there you go.
Lord willing. So we made this connection on the LinkedIn platform, like you alluded to a while back, and I enjoy your contributions. It's a dynamic place, don't you think, to meet new people and discuss things in hand.
Well, when we talk about like-minded people, the reason why I like LinkedIn is because it's full of like-minded people. It's people who are wanting to learn, wanting to motivate or inspire, wanting to be part of a network, wanting to meet people on a professional basis. It's my preferred, social media platform for that reason.
Yes, myself included. I've been on there. When I first got on board, Scotty, I guess it's almost like 15, 17 years now, and it's really grown into a wonderful place to share and you, like you say, network. I've met some extraordinary individuals like yourself, and I'm very pleased that it's available to me. That's for sure.
Yeah, and the way it works is completely different to the other ones. But, it's still very much on a social platform nowadays rather than the job site, which is how it started.
Yeah, exactly. It was more like a resume thing. You just put up your, like an online resume and for recruiters, but now it's more lifestyle, but it integrates the two, which I appreciate. And an introduction of a lot of creative folks out there, like, doing video and just really getting creative with it. I think it's super cool. I love perusing and checking out what people are up to. It's cool.
Yeah, and getting their voice, right? There's a platform and a voice where they can, go and perform and be heard. And if they've got a story to tell, there's always going to be someone who's interested.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's very unique, very unique. So you recently asked a question. You asked, who's responsible for your self-development? That's a great question. And what's your response? Who's responsible?
Well, we are. I mean, ultimately, it comes down to us. I mean, I just had this situation the other day when I heard someone blaming the government again. I'm thinking, I'm just sick of hearing people blame the government or blame other people. And I thought, well, that's actually the same with their self-development. It's someone else's fault that they're not getting paid enough, or someone else's fault that their career isn't developing the way they want it to. It's someone else's fault for everything. I mean, man, so who is responsible? Well, it's us. Ultimately, it's our responsibility to get what we want out of life, not someone else's.
I agree. I think we're the gardener of our own mind and the seeds that we sow. What happens, I think, Scotty, and I agree with you, by the way, 100%. When you give away your power to the government by way of being a victim and having a victim mentality, you're giving away your power and you're giving away your choice. And they become the scapegoat. And it's the government, it's the taxes, it's the economy, it's the gas prices, it's whatever it is. And I really think you have to stay in your lane and take accountability and responsibility for your choices and your decisions, and set a goal, right, and attack it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not everything's going to work out, and there's always reasons why it won't.
Oh yeah.
But it's not someone else's fault that it doesn't work. I mean, lots of things don't work.
Sure.
It's just the way life is. Not everything works out the way we plan it. But ultimately, if you set some goals, for example, to get healthy, well, the only person that's accountable to that's you. And if you're not being healthy or you're not dedicating time to it, well, do it. If you want to get smarter and wiser, you're not reading books, well, then you're not doing what it takes. Forget about gas prices and government, what your parents are doing or your kids are doing. There's no one else to blame but yourself.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is take responsibility for who we are and what we need to do to get what we want out of life. And that's what life's all about.
Well, I think a lot of folks, when they are presented with that idea, it's scary, right? You mean that I'm finding myself in my present situation with these circumstances surrounding me because of the choices I've made and I haven't been responsible? You're kidding me. You're kidding me, right?
Well, yeah, people don't want to hear that, but it is the reality. I think deep down they know that. See, but this is just going back a little bit, Bobby. I'm lucky because I started with nothing. I came from more or less poverty. So, there was no, I don't know what people call it nowadays, white privilege. There was none of that stuff, right? I had to get out there and work and push my way through, which was actually a benefit in the end because I didn't have anything holding me back. Everything for me had an upside. So I just kept on doing more and more and achieving more and more, and that upside grew more and more. So everything for me was an upside, so there was nothing to lose. So that was a bit of an advantage, I guess, that some people don't have. But then again, I think everyone has that advantage. Everything should be an upside. Everything should be a growth and improvement.
And then there's really no ceiling. I mean, you cap it at where you want to go. Take me back now. You had this juggernaut of a real estate business, but before that, leading into that, and I want to learn about it as well. What got you? So you said you started out on a certain level, and you which was a blessing in disguise because you provided for growth and that allowed you to move forward. What were you doing? What kind of occupation did you hold before you found yourself in the real estate game?
Yeah, look, it won't take long. I'll go back a little bit. When I left school, I wanted to get into real estate because one of the local real estate salesmen here, he had a brand new car. Now, it wasn't an expensive car. It was just a brand new car. And I thought, wow, I'd love a brand new car. So I thought, I'll try and get into real estate sales. And this was like at the age of 17. Anyway, I couldn't get a job selling real estate. I tried. I door knocked a few real estate agents and no one would give me a job. But then I got a job selling insurance for an American insurance company called Combined Insurance Companies of America, which ended up becoming Aon Corporation and then split out again later on. Then I did that for 10 years. So I did my trade, if you like, of, sales and leadership and business development. And I thought I'd have a go on my own. I also wasn't happy after 10 years. I wasn't happy with a lot of things. I sort of went through a bit of a midlife crisis. So I did a reset. And in that reset, I decided to start my own company. And that took 2 years. It took 6 attempts. So, I failed 5 times, if you like, before I got the 6th one going. And then starting the company, that was only the start. I still didn't have to make that company work. That took another September 2003 was the last time I knocked on a door to sell the software. So nearly 4 years that journey took to start a company and get it off the ground. And then I had a company. And, and you spoke about earlier about the $1.125 trillion worth of real estate we managed in the database, right? So I remember one day going, I wonder how much worth of property we've got in the database. And it was like $100 million worth of properties we had in the database. I went, wow. And I put that figure on the top of the website. So it was now managing over $100 million. And then it got to $500 million. Then it got to $1 billion. And I was going, wow, this is crazy. Right? And over the years, that grew and grew and grew. And when I left, it was $1.125 trillion worth of real estate. The funny thing is, my clients loved it. They saw that figure. They saw it grow every time they logged in. They saw the growth of the company. They became a part of that journey. But like I said, the funny thing is the new owners that came along took that off.
Interesting.
They thought, that's a useless figure. Let's get rid of that.
Interesting.
Whatever. It's not my problem anymore, right? Because they had no emotional connection to the growth of the company. For them, it was just an acquisition. There was no heart and soul in their acquisition. It was purely a business move, which is why I'm not there anymore, by the way. But that's another story. So that figure I watched grow, and all my customers watched grow, and they became a part of that journey. So it was very motivational, inspirational for everyone to be a part of that growth of the company.
So they had skin in the game, and the other folks were looking at it from purely a dollars and cents and an investment and return mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, that's business, and do I regret selling the company? No. But in the end, I probably would have done things a little bit differently. But at the end of the day, hey, I made that decision. I live by it. And now what I'm doing is way cooler. So, I haven't worked really for 5 years. And I'm now talking to people all over the world. I'm writing books, and I'm being interviewed, and I'm speaking on stages, and I'm doing it on a global basis. I mean,
Look at
it's
you.
really cool. I'm really enjoying it.
Local guy makes good. Local guy makes good. I love a success story like that. So tell me about this.
I want my hair to grow back, but it's not I want my big blonde hair, surfy blonde hair to grow back.
There's a price for everything, brother. There's a price to be paid. So
that's right. I'm not upset about anything. I really enjoyed the journey. It got me more than I ever thought I ever could in life, and that was that mindset of, well, if it's to be, it's up to me. Take responsibility and be accountable for what you want in life. No one else is going to do it for you.
Congratulations! I am so pleased to learn of your success. So you're 47 when this happens. The day you sell, the day you realize the ownership is not, the weight's not of the world. That world is on your shoulders anymore. You wake up in the morning and what do you do? Because you're probably go up into that point. Do you just take a sigh, a deep breath, and does it take you a minute to get acclimated to the new lifestyle?
Well, it's funny you asked that. And it was actually, I was at the age of 46. So I say 47 when it was all done and dusted. But it was actually 46. So it was October 2017 was the last sort of day. But I hung around for a few more months, and that's when I was actually, doesn't matter what the time frame was anyway. But the funny thing was, I had a business hangover for about 3 months. Like I was sleeping in the morning till like 9 o'clock for no reason at all. And it was like this business hangover. All of a sudden there was no sense of urgency and no reason to do anything. It was crazy. It was literally a business hangover.
Well, you had such an attachment to it, and to the point where you got to figure your identity's really interconnected with it. And when that goes away to a degree, your identity or maybe a little bit of your purpose in the immediate present was kind of gone. So you're wallowing around, not kind of. I like the hangover. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I've never been there, but sounds like a good definition.
Yeah, it was literally like a career or business hangover. I had no more sense of urgency. When I was driving in the car, I could drive slowly, for example. I didn't have to rush anywhere. It was really crazy. It was a massive paradigm shift in who I was and where I was. So. Which was very pleasing. Most people don't get to do that.
Yeah.
So, I managed to do that early, and I'm young enough now to reset and do what I want to do now. Or, I guess the definition of success is doing what you want, when you want, with who you want. And I was lucky enough to achieve that at a young age.
So you just broke the half a century mark, right?
I have now, yeah. So I'm 51 now.
Welcome to the club.
51 and not done.
Welcome to, yeah, I like it. Now you're just getting started. You're just hitting your stride, man. You're just hitting your stride. So you're creative. I know that just by watching, I want to ask you, are you that way by nature, just curious, or do you have to work at creativity? In other words, are you brimming with ideas? Do you create or have input on the places like your website, which is brilliant, and we'll get into your 1357 system? Does that just bubble up for you in quiet moments, or do you deliberately sit down and write it and be intentional with your goals and stuff?
I guess it's both. I am actually hyperactive, or ADHD. Most people would probably hang up their boots from the business and go fishing all day, but I honestly couldn't think of anything worse, or play golf.
Yeah.
So what still motivates and inspires me is business and success, and watching other people achieve success. And, so what I tried to do was, you're right, I did set up that website. And that was just a place so I could share knowledge. I wanted to be able to share it and give back, because many people gave me advice over the years. Many people shared things with me over the years. So I thought, well, I want to do the same. So I set up a website, and there's like 250 plus videos on there, and people can go and learn things, So without it costing a cent, it's very philanthropic. Just go and do it. You just register, and everything's free.
What a platform to be a mentor to so many, and you're pleased and willing to do so. Boy, people need to avail themselves of that for sure. We are speaking today with Scotty Schindler, all the way from Australia, and you can learn more about Scotty's work and his value-packed offerings at his website, ScottySchindler.com. That's SCHINDLER.com. And you can seek him out on the LinkedIn platform, which we've been talking about as well, as he's super active there and he welcomes your connection. What do you mean by earn your win.
Earn your win. Where did I put that?
You said earn your win. It was like,
I can't remember the context of that one. But when did I say that just before?
You said it. I was reading an article, and you, it was in quotations. You're like, earn your win. And I thought to myself, it was like what we're speaking about. It's nothing's guaranteed, but there are opportunities out there that are afforded us if we only, be wise enough to take advantage of them. That's what I took away from that quotation that I found. And I apologize for not telling you exactly where I found it. It was on probably on an article. And so I wanted to ask you about that. But before we get into
I can talk about it. I just couldn't remember the context.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Like, I gave you my opinion. What's yours?
Well, 100%, you've got to earn it. I mean, anything worth doing is, worth working hard for, right? So, if it's not worth working hard for, it's probably not worth doing. To give you an example, the last Australian surfing title I won back in 2017, I was out in the final and I had a really, really bad start. And I got washed in. This big set of waves came in and washed me in, and it was like I basically had to reset in that heat. And if it hadn't been for all the training I did and all the exercise, when I was running back around to start the heat again, I'd lost a quarter of the heat. I just kept telling myself, I've trained for this, I've trained for this, I've trained for this, you've got it, you've got it, you've got it. And just went out and refocused and reset. And these are all within minutes, right?
Sure.
And just had to reset. And so anything worth doing is worth training and the discipline of going out and achieving it. And, so that's, I'm not sure what context it was, but most things in life don't just happen. Most things in life you've got to actually work towards and earn, whether it's a business or, whether it's sport, it makes no difference. If you're expecting things just to happen, well, you're waiting on luck. You go buy some lotto tickets. Otherwise,
exactly.
You've got to go and make things happen. You've got to go and earn it. It's like I said earlier on, for me, I was lucky because I knew the only person that was ever going to give it to me was me. So I didn't wait for the government to give me handouts. I had to go and try and buy my first house or invest in other properties and do those sorts of things all on my own.
And the harder you work, the luckier you seem to get it, because the doors do open. I find that the more you're tuned into that, the more opportunities avail themselves. Now, whether you're keen enough to work it and exploit it, well, that's a different story. But that is awesome. So you were also, I wanted to ask you, because you said you were in shape and had to reset there in a matter of minutes to get out to the next set of waves before the whistle blew at the competition, your surfing championship. You're also a first responder or a firefighter, if I'm not misreading that. And you, I wanted to find out, I guess you answered the question already, how it parallels, into business, being that having that mindset, that being not only physically in shape but mentally sharp to make decisions and judgments in short order.
Yeah, it does, and it teaches you. There's a lot of things the fire brigade teaches you. Although, as far as business goes, it's a polar opposite of the discipline required in business. For example, we train for when things go wrong, and only train for when things go wrong in the fire brigade. And we respond to everything. We're not proactive to anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
it's actually the polar opposite of what business is like when you're planning and setting goals. We don't set goals and say, well, we want 3 house fires this month. We don't do that.
True.
We don't. You just don't do that fire brigade. You only respond, and then you have to respond and trust your instincts and be situationally aware. And it might be 3 o'clock in the morning. So it teaches you that discipline, which is great.
Yeah.
And also how to actually in an intense situation just take a breath and work out what needs to be done and then just get it done. So.
Yeah, I think that portion of the discipline would carry over into business. When you're faced with adversity or some sort of challenge, you can you calm your mind based on some of the training you've encountered with the firefighting and the first response and stuff.
Yeah, It probably does have, a bit of, well, that's not that bad,
Yeah, exactly.
This is hardly a raging fire, right? This is just a bit of smoke. It's okay.
There's not lives at stake here. I mean, physical, well-being. It's funny.
Yeah. So I guess it does have that. It does have that layover, I guess, or that throw over, or that similarity in a sense that I guess you take that back to work and you go, that's not really a problem.
Exactly. It kind of puts things into perspective, I'm sure. So,
Yeah.
So you've authored a book entitled 5 Systems of Successful People, which is available on Amazon and over on your website too at scottyschindler.com. And the general theme, I believe, is working smarter, not harder. And you say that a smart person learns from their mistakes, but a wise person learns from others. That's wisdom. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, well, that was, I said that to myself a lot when I was younger. And, I'd turn around and watch a lot of people doing lots of different things. And I'd be going, if I repeat what some of the dumb things are that other people are doing, well, I'm not very smart, am I? It's not very wise. So, when I think I talk in the book about finances, I've actually got a whole heap of stuff saved for my next round of books. But anyway, for example, when you see people make bad business decisions, if I go and repeat that, well, then that's not really cool, right? Or, I think people, I can give lots of examples, but I won't. But anyway, so the bottom line is a smart person learns from their own mistakes,
Sure.
But a wise person learns from others.
Yeah, I love that. And you've also coined the phrase in that book, time duplication and business judo and business of thirds. I love business judo. What the heck's that all about?
Well, business judo is, I guess there's 5 habits in business judo. The first one is positive mental attitude. There's no order to these, by the way, but positive mental attitude, collaboration, leverage, network, and win-win-win situations. But the whole crux of business judo is, I originally got taught mental judo. So it's how to, flip the negatives into positives, or more importantly, how to flip a negative or a disadvantage into an advantage.
Yes.
Flip the narrative. But that's the biggest thing about business judo. It's okay, well, here's a situation. Can I leverage it? Can I collaborate with someone? What's the network opportunity here? Is everyone winning out of this? Is it a win-win-win situation? Just like Stephen Covey's win-win. Just at a full 360-degree view. And obviously the positive mental attitude. In other words, the positive mental attitude is the number one thing that I guess sets successful people up.
Yeah.
It's how they bounce. Everyone has stuff go wrong, right? You have, I have, everyone else has. But it's that positive mental attitude to deal with it and move on. And if you use business judo to look at the situation, well, how do I business judo this? How do I flip this? Not just, into a positive, but into a complete advantage. And if I can't, well, it's not worth putting my energy into it. Just let it go. Go find something else. And work on the good things that are working. But if there is a situation, you have a car accident, you go, okay, well, I need to buy a new car. You know what I mean? It's not, oh, look at the car accident, other cars are wrecked and all this sort of stuff.
Right.
As long as everyone's okay, of course. But all of a sudden, the advantage is, okay, well, I'll get a new car and I'll upgrade it, or I'll change it, or I'll get a four-wheel drive this time, or I'll do something else. That's a silly example, but you get the point, right?
I do, yeah. Mental attitude, the positive, finding that silver lining, and I think that tops the list of the 5 in business judo for sure. Time duplication. Everybody is, I think the number one currency, and I'm sure you'll agree, the older you and I get, right, is time, the currency, more important than just about anything. So in order to multiply and duplicate your time, you have some tips on that too, do you not?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, see, time duplication is the one thing that every successful person understands. They duplicate themselves, they duplicate their products, and they duplicate their money. In other words, they have more than them doing the work. So their job isn't relying on themselves. In fact, they can make themselves redundant.
Right.
The products they build get paid for over and over again. So they build a product once and get paid for it more than once.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're not constantly building products. They have to sell. And the last one is they make money while they sleep. So when they make money, they make it make more money.
So there's like a residual effect. Yeah.
Whatever it is, they invest in properties, whatever, shares, they have their money make more money. They buy assets, not liabilities. So they buy things that make money. They spend money on making money, not not buying liabilities or spending money on things that cost money or lose money.
Yeah, makes brilliant sense. Brilliant sense. And that book, like I said, is available over on your webpage, of course, and on Amazon. And just a lot of good resources and you sharing and imparting your wisdom. We just heard a couple nuggets there. You've got a book coming out in a couple months in December, too, do you not?
Well, I do, but I'm looking for a proper publisher, so that'll put that on hold if I get a proper publisher, because they'll have a release program for it. Otherwise, I've already written the book. The next book is actually on sales. It's probably the number one thing I get asked about in business is, selling more, getting more sales, getting more revenue. So, and because of my background, I'm probably one of the few people who considers himself as a trade a sales professional. So I've got all the content done. So I've written the book and I've done the first edit, and now it's on hold because I am actually in discussions at the moment with the publisher to republish the first book and obviously then publish the series, because I am writing a series of books.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you cut your teeth back in the insurance game on the sales approach, and that's taken you through your career, and now you can impart that to others. You self-published the first book, did you not? I think that's what you did. Did you self-published it?
I self-published.
Yeah.
I had a real burning desire or a goal, if you like, to challenge myself to see if I could do it. So I did cover to cover. Every word, every page is all mine.
Did you like it? Was it fun? Did you enjoy doing it? Was it a worthy goal to achieve?
Oh, it was fantastic. When you actually get that hard copy in your hands, you go, wow.
Sense of accomplishment. Yeah, I can imagine.
The reality is, Bobby, is that it's really, really hard work.
Well, again, honestly, it looks easy at the end of the day when you're sitting there with the book in your cover, but all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into that sucker. Yeah.
It's crazy, and then you feel like
you just gave birth. You just gave birth.
Yeah, well, you're also naked, right? So you feel like when you push that like button, everyone can read and now judge, and maybe they won't like what I do. Maybe they won't agree with it. Maybe they'll think it's stupid. Scotty's not really a professor. Scotty's really a street smart guy, but he's not that smart. But none of that's actually happened. It's actually all the feedback has been really good.
Well, I think that's what happens. You're very critical of yourself.
I totally understand why people get a ghostwriter and someone else writes it for them.
Yeah. It removes you. It takes you one step removed, maybe,
Yeah. So I had that burning desire to do it. And all my books will be written by me, but maybe next time with an editor, they might be a bit more professionally edited or formatted in a way that's more, universally accepted. But meanwhile, what people buy right now,
getting wonderful reviews are great. Yeah, the reviews have been wonderful, and you obviously struck a nerve and rang a chord or whatever, because it's getting rave reviews. I see all the testimonials online about it, and got to be gratifying. Congratulations on that. And you did this System 1357, and I went online and I signed up for it. And it's free. I mean, you can take it where you want, and it's module based, and you do all the videography and the teaching modules and go through the steps and things of that nature. I want you to elaborate on it, but it's system. It's defined like this. If I'm not mistaken, it says systems work your systems. Sales Leadership Business System 1357 is a formula that you can use to achieve twice as much in half the time. Learn from experience and join like-minded people from all over the world who want to learn, teach, and achieve. That's what I found there. Now, I've got to really dig in deeper. We experienced a hurricane here in the last few weeks, not to make any excuses, but life's been a little chaotic, but I'm itchy to get back into it. How are you finding that's being received? It looks wonderful.
Yeah, well, when you spoke earlier about time duplication. So for me, putting it all up there and being philanthropic with the knowledge, once again, it's, a lot of people helped me out when I was younger, so it's my way of giving back. But it's also my time duplication. So, people can go watch the videos without having to ask me, well, Scotty, how did you do it? Can we have a coffee? Well, just go watch the videos. It's free. It's all sitting there. You can go watch them anytime you like. Which probably some people will think, oh, well, there must be a catch to it, but there isn't a catch. It's just there. And people go watch it all day, every day. They go watch these videos, right? And which is really cool. So it saves me having to repeat myself. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It does save me a lot of time. And even though I did the content, which took time, but now it's there and people can go watch it whenever they want. And the reality is the books are coming out of some of that content too, right? So if you go watch the sales courses, well, that's what's in the book too. But that's the whole point, is when I ask most people, well, what system do you follow for sales? You know, you're in business, you're selling yourself. Well, what system do you follow? Write it down. Most people cannot write down a system. Most people cannot write down a process of what they do or how they do it. So, and same with leadership. You know, a lot of people, their leadership systems in their business, they don't really have one. It's like, well, what do you do for leadership? Well, you know, we go out to dinner from time to time, or, you know, it's like we do product training. Well, that's not really a leadership system, is it?
Not a system, no.
Yeah.
And that's funny because, it's ambiguous. You call yourself a sales professional or a leader by, you know, vocation, and yet if you can't define it with a system, or at least put a bow around it and describe the, you know, what it is that you do in, you know, a systematic fashion. Yeah, that's pretty, because I'm in sales. I'm in sales by trade. My entire career has been in sales. And like you, getting into the real estate game, you saw somebody with a new car. It wasn't maybe an expensive car, but it was brand new. And it scratched an itch for you to, at 17 years old, to get out there and say, hey, how do I do this? I did the same thing. And I got into automobile sales. And it took me, it really taught me a lot. And I followed systems. There was a systematic approach, and you could deviate and kind of color outside the lines to a degree. But if you really left the format or the system, you were going to find less success. So I think that's huge that you offer that, and that it lives in perpetuity on your web, on the Systems 1357 website, so people can access it at will and just get recharged. I think that's great.
Yeah, no, thank you. And, you know, I'm pleased you're watching it and pleased you're getting stuff out of it. Whether it's a refresher or understanding the systems, or, you know, it's whatever you want to get out of it. It's free.
Yeah, it's more of a refresher, but I am learning stuff. I'm learning new things. I want to get further into it, and I would encourage folks to do that. Like I said, it's free. You just sign up. There's no catch, guys. There's no catch. And I kept looking, you know, I wanted to look behind the curtain to see if, okay, what do I got to do? Let blood, or give up my firstborn, or my credit card number? You know, you take it as far as you want to go. There's a lot of valuable free resources there. I'd encourage you to look at Systems 1357. And you'll be glad you did. What's on the horizon, Scotty? You mentioned you got a couple more books and a series going on. What else are you doing? How are you gonna shop?
That's the primary goal. That's my big burning desire right now. So I did all the videos and put all that up. Now I am actually, you know, writing the books and putting it into that legacy model. So the videos are there, but the book's just another form of the legacy. Because that's my main motivation is legacy from the boys. So one day they'll read the books, or, you know, when they start a business of their own, maybe I'll be here and I'll be able to help them. But if I'm not, they'll be able to read about what I did and how I did it and what were the systems that I used. So that's my biggest burning desire right now. So I've probably got, apart from traveling a lot, I've probably got, you know, the next 18 months to 2 years of just purely writing and releasing books in the series, which will be between 5 and 7 books. Yeah, so that's the big burning desire. So I've already written the second book, which is the selling book, which I've called The Best Sales Systems Ever.
Simple. I like it.
It's what successful people say, do, and when. That's what the next book is.
I love that.
And I sort of think you may or may disagree, but I think sales or selling is a forgotten trade.
Oh.
I think people put things on social media and think they're selling, or they're marketing and think they're selling, but they're not. It is part of the side of that cycle, the business cycle, that the marketing is part of the sales cycle, no doubt about it. But when you're in conversation with someone and you need to get paid your $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000 for your work, most people choke. They don't know how to close that.
How to close it. Yeah, I think the marketing side has been really enhanced through the worlds of Instagram and sponsored ads on Facebook and these different platforms. But yeah, sales is a lost art, and people kind of still, the older school guy, they still have a connotation about salespeople. You know, salespeople, you're just trying to get in my pocket and all this kind of stuff. I think it's one of the most worthy professions that one can embark on, and we are all salespeople. No, Scotty. I mean, you're selling your kids on what to eat. You're selling your wife. You're selling your partner, your relationships. You're selling all the time. So it would behoove one to learn how to do it properly and effectively.
Yeah, and you understand that because you're in the trade.
Yeah. But closing the deals, closing deals, that is when I first, that was the asking closing questions and assumptive closes and doing different, techniques and how to ask and to get the moxie up to ask an individual for an order or a signature or their checkbook. That was a big thing, but it's like anything else. No, Scotty, it's like when you first started to surf, you got up, you fell down. You got up, you fell down. It took a minute to get, acclimated. It's the same in any profession, but sales in particular.
Yeah, 100%. The power of good questions and, your soft, your test and your hard closes and, all these things, right? And anyway, so I've got it all in the book coming out, as an example. And ironically, I did pick on car salespeople, by the way.
Well, thanks for nothing, Scotty. I appreciate that.
Well, because a lot of people can relate to it because that in real estate, probably, there's plenty of salespeople jobs around, but there's two careers left where they're definitely called salespeople.
Yeah.
Car salespeople, real estate salespeople.
Yep.
The beautiful thing about selling is that it gives you unlimited income potential.
Absolutely.
So if you can sell your products and services and supply the demand that you're selling, well, there's unlimited income potential.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, my wife's in real estate. She's a managing broker for Berkshire Hathaway, and she manages 125 agents in glorious Naples, Florida, and where the real estate values are pretty high. I mean, nationwide, they're some of the most prestigious properties. And you're right, you can control your income destiny to a great degree through the vehicle of sales. I love the best part about sales for me, Scotty, is referrals. When I first got into sales, it was live by the door, die by the door. So if they were coming through the door, you were living good. If they weren't, you were dying, right? So I found out that the importance of follow-up and rapport and relationship building and just common courtesies, sending birthday cards, staying in touch. And before you know it, over the course of time, that stone is not rolling anymore and it's gathering a lot of moss, and you're not working by the door anymore. You're working by referral, and a referral is gangbusters because the people are, they're halfway, 3/4 of the way closed, if you will, before they even shake your hand and meet you.
Already got the know, like, and trust, So a referral is, hey, go talk to Bobby. So, Scotty brings up Bobby and says, hey, Bobby, Tom said to talk to you, or the other way around,
Yep.
There's a lot of know, like, and trust already. So it does make life a lot easier. It's one of the whole chapters in the book is just on referrals, right?
Excellent. When is it coming out? December, you say, or close to? You got to get a publisher.
Well, if I'm self-publishing, it will be finished in December and ready to go. If I'm not self-publishing, I'll end up in whatever the system is of the book publisher. So I'll run with them, and that'll save me a lot of work, by the way, because self-publishing, it's not hard to get it live, but it's hard to get it out there in all the bookstores and things like that. So if I can business judo it and get a proper publisher to do it, well, then I'll run with their time schedules. Otherwise, the videos are all online. So a lot of the content from the book actually is on videos, and some of the businesses around the world are actually using it to train their staff. So they go in and watch the videos and go, all right, staff, let's work on our close this week. Let's go watch some of Scotty's videos, and then we'll talk about it and discuss how we implement that in our business. That's what's sort of happening. So, for example, your wife could go watch a video on prospecting or lead generation, and there's videos on that. They can go, okay, well, that's what Scotty said. How can we use that? How can we better ourselves with that?
Well, that's a serendipitous offshoot or fruit of your labor, right? That's something that you didn't anticipate. Now people are using it for their sales teams and conducting meetings around the systems and how to implement it. Beautiful.
Which I don't mind. Go for it. I mean, at the end of the day. And then some people are actually saying, and Scotty, can you come out and do some one-on-one with us and we'll pay you? I go, yeah, sure, I'll do that.
I can do that. I can do that. Why not?
I can fly to Florida and do that. No problem at all.
Not a problem, mate. So that's cool. You're implementing the business judo principle number 1, positive mental mindset, to get it published either self by December or whenever the system of the publishers, how that will unfold. We'll see. It's called The Best Sales System Ever. It's going to be a blockbuster. I am looking forward to that myself. And we have the 5 systems of successful people. We've got system 1357. You can join Scotty's venture and his mentorship and his enthusiasm, his energy over at scottyschindler.com and systems1357.com. Scotty, my friend, thank you so much for taking your time today. It was been an absolute pleasure to talk with you.
You're welcome, mate. Very welcome.
Cool. And I love mate. I love that. That's so cool. Mate. Yeah, brilliant, man.
We use it everywhere.
I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate the time you carved out of your busy schedule to speak with me, Scotty, and learn a bit more about what motivates that brilliant mindset of yours. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's great to be on your team, Bobby.
Outstanding. Look forward to seeing what's coming down the pike for you. So for this episode of the Motivated Mindset Podcast for Scotty Schindler, this has been your host, Bobby Stein, and I want to thank you for listening. And as always, please take good care.
You've been listening to another episode of the Motivated Mindset Podcast with your host, Bobby Stein. Thank you for tuning in.